All team, give it everything you got!
It's time to fangirl flail with Fangirls Going Rogue.
Count me in.
Never get between a Mandalorian and a weapons package.
This is the way.
News, discussion, and commentary from the female point of view.
You call this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
She's as important as he is.
With your hosts, Trisha Barr and Sarah Woloski.
Boy, am I glad to hear your voice.
Strap in, because this is where the fun begins.
I like the sound of that.
Welcome, Yub Cubs, to Fangirls Going Rogue. It's a new year. Happy 2023. We are thrilled to welcome you back. We're back for another year. We're excited. And I am Sarah Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland. And with me is my co-host, Trisha Barr from Fangirl Blog. Trisha, how is the new year treating you so far?
It's fireworks and sparkles.
Whoa. And is it pixie dust as well?
I think so. Pixie dust like on my nails, because we had a nail party this week to celebrate the end of the year, you and I and some other friends. So they're still on.
Very good. Yeah, I would hope they'd still be on. They're supposed to last a while. So I'm so glad you were able to join, even though it was kind of late for our East Coast friends.
Oh, it's fine. It was fun. I enjoyed hanging out. So, and we enjoy hanging out with everybody else. And it feels like it's been a while since we've gotten to do some animation talk on Fangirls Going Rogue. So here we are to open the new year with the Bad Batch Season 2. January the 4th, the Bad Batch Season 2 premieres on Disney Plus with 2 episodes, The Spoils of War and Ruins of War. Season 1 concluded with the sacking of Kamino by Admiral Rampart's fleet, killing most of the Kaminoans and destroying their cloning technology. The Bad Batch and Omega barely escaped death. Although they struck a temporary truce with Crosshair, they part ways with their former Clone Force 99 team member. The Bad Batch now believed dead, and Crosshair hoping for an Imperial rescue. Season 2, Hunter, Echo, Tech, Wrecker, and Omega are at a crossroad, no longer clone troopers, and in search of a new purpose.
That's right. And we were fortunate enough to be able to speak with some of the people behind this season. So before this season even began, before we had a chance to watch any of the episodes, we did get to sit down with the supervising director, Brad Rao, and head writer, Jennifer Corbett, along with some of our fellow Star Wars podcasters in a great Star Wars roundtable. So without further ado, here it is.
Hey there. Thank you so much for joining us. We are Richard and Sarah from Skywalking Through Neverland.
And we have a music question for you guys, because Kevin Kiner is just amazing. And in season 1, he had this great innocent theme for Omega. But now that Omega is growing up in season 2, what was the direction you gave Kevin Kiner for her theme? And maybe can you talk about any other themes we can look forward to in season 2?
Ooh, we could spend this whole time talking about Kevin Kiner and all of Team Kiner, Dean and Sean as well, his son. They're so great. Yeah, Omega's theme is so beautiful. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear it in different versions throughout season 2, depending on the situation. I'll just say, because I don't want to take up all the time, watch out for episode 3 coming out pretty quick in season 2. The music is incredible. And, you know, speaking of the direction to the Kiners, it's really a collaboration. When we do music spotting, I tell them these are the moods we're going for, and they always have thoughts. They're so good. They're the best.
I asked a version of this, I think, last time we talked for season 1, and I'm wondering how it's changed as you look to season 2. There's always a lot of like movie reference that happens and gets thrown around, and I'm wondering what sort of movie references as far as structure or inspiration we could be looking forward to as we head into season 2 from the writing room.
I mean, we're constantly talking about inspiration from, Indiana Jones to Goonies to, again, I don't want to spoil where we're going, but there's also like a monster type movie vibe. It's sort of when you get all of us in a room together, we're all such different individuals, and we draw inspiration from various films and television, that it's a great exploration into what creative content we all enjoy and how we can put that into each of our episodes and really make them pop in a Star Wars vibe.
But hi, I'm Charlotte from Sky Talkers. In season 1, some of the themes of the season we loved were personal choice and perseverance. What themes were you interested in exploring in season 2? Well,
I'd say the word that I use for season 2 is crossroads, and that is what several of our characters come to in season 2, and we explore sort of the changing dynamic between the Batch and the Empire, but also the internal dynamic within the Bad Batch and how that evolves as more pressure is put on them, and as the Empire is continuing to rise to power.
Hi, Brad and Jennifer. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. Where have the Bad Batch grown? How do you see all of the characters have grown between season 1 and how we see them in season 2?
They've definitely grown and they've become different. They've been through a lot. Visually, we wanted to show that some time has passed. Omega's a little older, her hair's a little longer. The Batch themselves, armor is all dented up and beat up. The padding under their armor has had to be replaced probably several times as they've been through countless things. We wanted to show them more threadbare, not living the greatest life, living gig to gig. Was part of what Jen was saying about this crossroads. Like, what are they going to do next is something that we get into. And of course, somewhere they scrounged up enough money to buy Omega a new outfit so she wouldn't be wearing pajamas for her whole life. And she has a little hat with some metal armor on it. We just wanted to show that this team has become even more of a family, even more close knit is a big deal.
Obviously, some of the clones still have their chips, and they're functionally younger than Omega when Order 66 happened. Does having more information and wisdom change how the chips are going to affect the clones?
I think with what we're exploring with the chips is that, it's once the clones have committed Order 66, it's, at least with the Batch, obviously their chips were a little degraded because they're considered genetically, mutations of clones. So it didn't fully work. And, Crosser obviously had his removed later on, but not all clones are the same, and how others are reacting to not just the chip, but what they've done, and who's more aware of the actions they've committed. And also, like, as time progresses, what that means for them as they're looking at their involvement within the Empire.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
You asking the question now? You go ahead, Keith.
Okay. So in season 1, Hunter was the father figure for Omega, and he made sure to keep her safe from harm. But now we see in season 2 that Omega is a little older and more wiser. So can you tell us a little bit about Hunter and Omega's relationship in season 2? Does Hunter feel Omega's capable of taking care of herself now, or is he still like her father figure?
Yeah, we explore all of that. It's a really great question. Hunter, as a father, and myself as a father as well, and your dad probably feels the same way. Sometimes you make great decisions, sometimes you don't. We have to deal with all of that with this family unit. And we definitely have moments where Hunter realizes Omega needs to make her own decision, and she actually will tell him that. We've tried to explore all of the facets of this family, and then also as a unit, you could see Omega right away in the first episode that she's grown, she's more capable, she's doing all these amazing things. She still has a lot to learn, and we show her learning many things through the season.
Sorry, was very unprepared. I thought Mark was going to go in my stead.
Yeah,
but
I actually am ready to go. Either
go ahead,
way.
Mark.
Okay, yeah. So this is like a combined question from both Becca and I for Jennifer. So how did your tenure on NCIS as a writer and co-executive producer translate into executive producing on The Bad Batch? As a woman writing, how exciting and important is this for you to be in charge or leading the charge of something in Star Wars that's usually been male dominated? And this show, you might argue, is female led with Omega, or Omega, as she might say, even if it's mostly, the four guys watching her four dads. So how do you go about fashioning her to fit as an adolescent girl in the middle of a war with middle-aged men? So there's a lot to unpack there. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a big question. Well, I think my time at NCIS was aided by the fact that I was in the military. So I think that's what helped me sort of understand these stories and focus on the characters and what the predicament that they're in. What I loved about The Bad Batch and when I got the opportunity to develop The Bad Batch with Dave Filoni was that I responded to the military squad and the idea of having them be a guardian to this young girl. A lot of that dynamic stemmed from not only my time in the military, but also I have 3 older brothers, and growing up, they were like my idols. And I just, wanted to play hockey with them and like always wanted to kind of tag along. And whether they wanted to or not, I just sort of inserted myself into their lives. But being a female head writer, for Star Wars is, I'm honored to do this, but I'll say it's very much a collaborative effort, and I couldn't have done it without Brad. We are very much like a tag team when it comes to this series, and we are guided every step of the way with Dave Filoni, who's been such a great mentor to us. But we take it very seriously, writing these stories and making these stories, and it's an honor to be part of the Star Wars universe and just tell stories we're passionate about. And I hope with Omega, it's just exploring a dark time in the galaxy, but seen through the lens of a child who is learning all about what it means to be a person and to sort of choose to help people even when there's a lot of risk involved, because that's what you do when someone's in need, which hopefully that is a lesson to take away for our world today.
All right, and next up, I'll be asking you guys a question on behalf of an outlet called Fanthatrax. So, with the explosion and popularity of live action Star Wars and with the animated space having such an important role in the wider story, how do you guys make sure that what you do is seen by the wider audience and remains an essential element of the whole Star Wars story?
I'll jump in there. I'd say, we love all the live action series. We're big fans of everything they're doing. For our, in our arena, we just try to tell the best stories we can. We don't worry about trying to say like, how are we gonna wow someone? How are we gonna make such a big headline that we draw all of the audience to us? We're just trying to be true to these characters and tell their stories. Like Jen, you were just saying, Omega, as she grows up and what decisions are she going to make? We talk more about that really. And if we're doing our jobs right, I think that's the way to do it. And if it turns out good, then hopefully the fans will come and check it out,
Thank you very much. And I want to thank you for hiring my favorite comedian of all time, Wanda Sykes. I am so excited about this. So can you tell us about working with Miss Sykes and a little about her character?
Yeah, Wanda is so cool. She's so funny. She's so good. And we always, even regardless of how her character's written on the page, when we're with her in the booth, she'll have ideas, for tweaks of lines or how to bring a certain swagger to the role, which is that's really the fun thing, to see how she reacts off of our main characters. It's a joy and a pleasure to work with her.
And she plays Fee Genoa, who's a sort of we call her the liberator of ancient wonders, which is her definition for smuggler / pirate. But she's, she's a friend of Sid's, and yeah, Wanda's such a delight to work with, and yeah, we're excited about the fans seeing this character.
Thank you, and thank you once again for bringing her on the team.
I want to ask, you mentioned a little bit that Dave Filoni kind of, has his influence on everything that you're doing, and I'm wondering, like, what is that day-to-day sort of influence, and what sort of guidance has he given you for season 2 that you could share with us?
I mean, usually Dave hears the stories that are percolating in our brains as we're getting ready to go into story conferences. We'll talk to him about, the next group of episodes, but also, we had discussions on season 2 and where we'd like to go, and certain tentpole episodes that were of, key interest to us. And, he provides guidance and input throughout the whole process, in terms of, like, before these episodes even get broken, to the draft phase, to even later on when it's animated. So, he's there to, make sure that making sure it's the best version, and asking us the important questions, and making sure that we're, hitting everything and bringing everything to the level that it should be.
Yeah, he gives us notes at various phases of our previs process and our full animation process, and sometimes they hurt, sometimes those hurt, but they're always, he's so smart, he's so good, and his influence is literally across the whole show.
Especially when we have characters from, that are introduced that, may have been from different shows, movies. We want to make sure that we're all on the same page about what's happening there.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, the other half of Sky Talkers. It's so nice to talk to you both today. My question is, visually, this season looks very different from season 1 already. How does the look and feel for season 2? How has it evolved?
Yeah, I mean, essentially it's the same style, but we're always looking at technology and other older fashioned Hollywood techniques to push the style. How can we take this existing style and push the nuance and the fidelity? For example, in the trailer, in the first episode, we're on this island planet, and the way that the water reflects the light, the way that then influences the characters, where they might be running from giant crabs. It's in the trailer. Check it out. So fun. Is a thing we looked at. We've been implementing a lot more matte paintings this season as well. So not just the CGI technology, but the old-fashioned ILM influence really helps us make a huge jump in the scope and scale of the series. So yeah, we talk about that all the time, constantly pushing.
Brilliant, thank you very much. How have the stories evolved in season 2? Because obviously we're getting a 2-parter at the start, a 2-parter in the middle, and a 2-parter at the end. So is that to take us on a particular journey? Why was that decision made?
Yeah. I mean, it's very intentional as to why we're grouping these episodes together. And, it was important to us in season 2 to continue to tell fantastical adventure stories, but also thread in the element of the growing threat of the Empire, but also other groups that have sort of, I guess, taken hints from the Empire and are also doing oppressive things and having the batch interact with various, parties throughout the galaxy. But we wanted, those are sort of the 2-parters are very, I guess, tent-pole-ish type episodes of where we're leading. So yes, it was very intentional.
Can you talk about bringing Gunji into the season?
Ooh, yeah, very, very fun. And he's quite a character. Seeing Gunji with Omega in particular brings lots of joy to my life. Hopefully to all of you as well when you see it. We love Gunji.
Yeah, we I'm trying to remember specifically how the evolution of that happened, but I think the way we pitched it was that we wanted through season 2, it's other people that they've come into contact with, right, that need assistance and need help, and the idea of a Jedi youngling having survived but having no support system, and the opportunity to pair him with Omega, like Brad was saying, was just, she rarely gets to hang out with kids, which is why we loved the Hera episodes last year. But Gunji's a very different individual, and I'm pretty sure that was a Dave Filoni suggestion of
100%.
who that youngling or that Padawan could be, and we were thrilled to bring him back because we're all massive fans.
So it seems that the batch is still working for Sid, and they're taking on missions just to earn a living. But Echo's been saying for a very long time that they should be doing more.
But they need to get involved in the fight.
Yes. So I'm wondering if these two thoughts that they're having on the same team, will this cause a conflict with the team?
A great divide.
Yeah, we specifically get into that in a few episodes and see how that difference of opinion grows and what that leads to, and how that affects the team and the family. Is a really interesting thing. It's a great question. It's something we were talking about. We wanted to make sure that Echo had a little bit more time in the spotlight this season for sure, because we love Echo so much, and what he does this season is pretty great.
And the conflict, between them and the difference of opinions and what they should be doing does affect sort of, how they view their working relationship with Sid, and is this really the best choice for them, as other things are really taking place. So everything's very connected for that in season 2.
I was so impressed with what they did in the first season. And again, just how they talked about this upcoming season really excited me. They were being a little careful because they didn't want to give anything away. And obviously, none of us knew what to expect because we hadn't seen anything. But it was fun to hear how much care and love and how much thought went into these characters.
I would agree with that. And I really love when Jennifer mentions the word crossroads as a word for this second season of storytelling. I mean, you even use that word in your, talking about season 2. And it really is, because not only is the Bad Batch, our team, at a crossroads, or Omega at a crossroads, but the whole galaxy is at a crossroads as well. Like the Empire has just taken over, and what's going to happen? Like, there's so many ways it can go, and only time will tell. So thinking back though, on the first season, like, what word would you use for the first season, and why?
I would choose the word awakening, because the Order 66 sparks, that's how it opens, right? And we see them make a different choice than everybody else, or most of the other clones. So it's sort of an awakening of self. I feel like even though the clones are adults, they're very much like teenagers, and maybe the last episode was kind of high school, when you start to figure out you can do things and drive the car and be separate. And now I feel like we're in college, where they have to realize, like, oh, I have to pay the phone bill, and I have to
pay for my food, right?
Yeah. It's such a thing when you go to college, and you just don't realize until you're like hungry, and you're like, oh, do I have food in my wallet? Because up until then, typically your parents have taken care of that. And so I feel like this is college for season 2.
That's a really good way of looking at it. And for me, I feel like season 1, with especially the introduction of Omega, I would say season 1 is like family, or what is family. I know I'm supposed to pick one word, but like, to me, the Bad Batch was already kind of a group, but with the or they were like brothers, right? But with the introduction of Omega, all of a sudden they became this family. And you said it on several different podcast episodes, but like, Tech is, what did you say, the mom character? Hunter is definitely the dad figure.
Yeah, Hunter's the dad, and Echo is the mom.
That's it.
And then it's Tech, Wrecker, and Omega are the siblings, the threesome. You always have more trouble when there's 3 in there than 2.
And Wrecker is definitely a handful. That's cute.
He's like the problem child.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. All that we learned here, it's always so great to talk with, especially the showrunners, right? Because they have that bird's eye view of what's going to go on and what's going down. And what they said got me so excited for this season.
Absolutely. So, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode with our little interview with the showrunners of the show. And be sure to check back for our interviews with the voice of the Bad Batch, D. Bradley Baker, and the voice of Omega, Michelle Ang, in upcoming episodes.
If you haven't listened, you and I, Trisha, we recorded an amazing episode for the finale of Andor called Mothers, Sisters, and Lovers of Andor. So, I mean, that piques my interest. So you should go listen. Also, Trisha, you and BJ were just guests on Skywalking Through Neverland, episode 402, in which we discuss in depth episodes 1 and 2 of The Bad Batch season 2. So definitely check that out. And we also did on Fangirls Going Rogue, we interviewed Charles Murray, who wrote Tales of the Jedi, one of those episodes, and it's just a fantastic discussion. So check that out.
Right to the heart of it. And congratulations, Skywalking Through Neverland, on 400 episodes. You mentioned that episode 402 that we're going to be on talking about the Bad Batch. And, you guys had such an accomplishment to get to 400 episodes. What is it, 9 years now?
9 years. This is going on 10 now. This year will be, exciting. Woo!
Exciting. A decade. I don't know if people realize, like, someday we need to do like everything it takes to make a podcast episode type of thing. But
that would be interesting.
We are doing a lot of those. Also, Hyperspace Theories, BJ and I did the Ferrex finale discussion, which was wrapping up all the storytelling of Andor. I feel like maybe throwing some bricks for New Year's Eve sometimes.
Oh, have you seen that meme? Another brick in the wall? And
yes.
It's Marva. So funny. Okay.
There's definitely been some good memes out of Andor. So, that's when you're making the impact. And I do have a review on Fangirl Blog for the Bad Batch season 2, if you want to check it out. But you guys have probably already checked it out. But there's a little bit of we've seen 14 episodes. So we can kind of give you insight into what we think. And also on our Skywalking Through Neverland discussion, we did at the end wrap up with all of our sort of overall thoughts, non-spoilery for the season, but overall thoughts, knowing that all of us have been doing this for a long time with the animation and have, high expectations when it comes to things coming out of that Star Wars animation side.
Absolutely. All right. And we will commence our Zoom discussions for 2023. And they will begin on Monday, January 9th. And that we will be discussing episodes 1 and 2 of The Bad Batch, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys figure it out based on where you are. We'd love to see everyone. And we'll probably do those every other week.
I think it works out well too with the way the episodes fall. Just as I was watching them, I was kind of thinking, well, is there enough there for a discussion? And after certain episodes are like, yeah, okay, I think it's there. So, and we know too, at some point coming up, we're going to get the Mandalorian teasers and stuff like that we'll be able to talk about as well. But right now I'm trying to think of what's coming up in Marvel, but we talk about whatever's going on. So, but definitely the Bad Batch. Back to our discussions.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've reached the end of this episode, so visit us over at fangirlsgoingrogue.com. You can also find us on social media. We are at FG Going Rogue. Trisha is at Fangirl Cantina, and I am at Jedi Tink.
You can send us an email, contact at fangirlsgoingrogue.com.
And you can also find us on Facebook. We are Fangirls Going Rogue. You can also find us in our Facebook group. So search Facebook for Fangirls Going Rogue and then request to join and answer the questions that pop up. And if you invite someone into that group, make sure you tell them to go answer the questions. I don't know where they'll show up in your Facebook app because Facebook is weird, but just try to answer those questions.
Yeah. And please go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. We need your reviews so more people can find us.
So until next time, yub.
Yub.
Yub. Benifer. It's so funny, right?
Well, it's your fault. You did it.
I know I did because I was like in my notes. I'm like, it's Benifer.
Well, it's funny because you said Brad and Jennifer, and then you checked yourself, and because you're usually so good about making sure that you're clear that who the person is and everything. I'm like, wow. And then you were like, oh, I called them Benifer. And they're not a couple, but
right. No.
Yep.